SynthFest 24. I'm here on the booth of We Noisemakers with Fabien.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Fine. First day is almost over, and you announced several days ago a new Groovebox.
Yes, indeed.
You decide for very, very small form factor.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah,
This little device here. How does come the decision to make such a little device?
well, I enjoy electronics and small gadgets, and yeah, for me, I want something that they can carry around and battery powered, and no hassle. Just throw it in your pocket or in your bag.
And this little device is called PGB-1.
PGB-1, yeah.
Is it something, or often with this size, it's always, as you say, yeah, it's more retro, lo-fi. Does it go also in the modern side, or does it all kinds of?
Yeah, the idea is to cover as many sounds and kinds of music as possible. Obviously, it's a digital synthesis machine, so not everything is possible, but we try to have different sound engine and try to cover as many sounds as possible from this device.
And this little boy it's not yet the finished version, yeah? It's a prototype, or?
Yeah, this is the latest prototype. We're going to make a final prototype version before the production for the campaign.
It's interesting. It's, I think, this year the year of the prototypes. Every booth where was prototype.
Well, we always want to improve things. I would say in terms of look and design, it's probably 99% done. It's probably not going to change very much. In terms of dimensions, we want to stay the same. So it's very close to the final.
So the color remains also green.
That's to be seen. I don't know. Something that can change.
Because I think I say to you the picture on the website doesn't say that much. It says more here in real. Can we see the hardware and how this looks in real now?
So we have different versions. One with a plastic case, like this one, and we have one aluminum case in gold color, limited edition.
It's super light. It's like a card.
Yeah, this one is a bit heavier because it's aluminum, but the plastic one, yeah, it's indeed very light.
But it's basically a Groovebox, yeah.
Yeah, it's so we call it a standalone Groovebox, so that you can really create complete tracks with just this device, with drums, bass, lead, chords, samples, and so on, just from this one device, and sequence it with very interesting and powerful features, and all in one.
How many tracks you have on this on the?
So there are 6 synthesis tracks and 2 sample tracks. And then you can also control external gear via MIDI. So in total you can have 16 instruments, so 8 internal and 8 external potentially.
And what kind of, you said before to me it has drum synthesis, yes. But at other tracks synthesis, is this virtual analog, or is what kind of synthesis you are playing?
So we have different engines that you can pick from. Right now we have a few in the prototype. We expect to bring more. So there's a mix between kind of modelization of analog synthesis or more purely digital sounds. So there's different options, different sound engines.
And for effects and so effect sequence, so it's everything you know from a Groovebox is inside.
Yeah, exactly. So we have different. We have step conditions with randomness, 1 out of 2, etc.
Maybe can we a little demo of it, because how it works, and because it looks so tiny, and to be honest, and I think you give me right here, it's I think the smallest on-off button that I ever seen on a music device.
Right.
Look, so it's there.
That's one thing that we may change in the next version. Have a bigger button. We'll see. So maybe we can start with an empty project. all right? And we're gonna create a track just from scratch. So fairly basic Groovebox stuff. You select your instrument. So here the kick. You press edit and you enter your pattern. Okay, so you have a kick. Now you take the snare, enter your snare, hi-hat. Something simple very quickly. And then one of the cool features is for the bass line. By default, you're gonna play the fundamental, the root note of the chord. And there's a built-in chord sequencer. So as you can hear, the note is changing according to the chord sequencer.
And you said it has one polyphonic track?
Yes.
And the other ones are bass?
Yes. So if I go to this track here, it's the chord. This one is polyphonic. Four notes polyphonic. And so it's also playing the current, the chord in the chord progression. If we go to the lead, it's going to play an arpeggiator over the chord. And so very quickly, in a few clicks, you can create a nice and complete track just from this one device. And then we can go to the chord sequencer, and there's a feature to generate random chord progressions. So if I click this button, now I have a completely new chord progression with different chords, different root notes. So just like this, very quickly, even for people that don't know music theory or that don't have a lot of background, they can create very different tracks very quickly.
Drums tracks or drum synthesis tracks.
Yeah, so we have kick, snare or clap. We have different clap or snare, and hi-hat. And then you can also have drums on the sample.
Okay. And these are mono samples or stereo samples?
The samples are mono, and but they output in stereo, so you can place them
so you can
where you want in the stereo scope.
And so you can expand the drum engine, the drum machine part with the samples there, of course. Because three drum synthesis is a bit weak. Let's say 4 drum machines. You can expand it to 5.
Yeah. You can have. So you can change the samples obviously, but I don't know. We can have. What do we have here? We have a clap, for instance. We can have a clap in the sample, and then indeed you can have more drums.
I read on your I cheat a bit here on the featured list. It has 4 effects.
Yes.
And these are global or per track, or how do you organize them?
There are 4 global effects. So every instrument can go to one of each, and they are mixed together. So I can have 2 instruments go to the reverb and 2 go to the overdrive. So I can show you a little bit. So we have reverb. We have the overdrive, which is way too low, so I'm gonna turn it up. Okay, maybe I can start again. Okay, so we have overdrive, reverb, a filter, and a beat crusher.
And for the sequence, you already said how many steps it has, or or you can create tracks out of it, or how?
Every track has 16 patterns, and each pattern 16 steps. But you can link patterns together. So if you link 2 patterns, you effectively have 32 steps, and you can link 3, 4 patterns, 5, etc.
Okay. And there are also some cool creative features. You said probability. There's
you can. So if you go in the step settings, you can choose the condition for the step, which can be always. We have a mode for fields. You can have some probabilities, 1 out of 2, 1 out of 3, and so on. Okay. So different options for the trigger. And of course, every trigger can have a different condition, and you can mix.
Speaking of this, okay, the sequence has then you can chain them, so you can also create a complete song with it.
Yeah, and there's a song mode as well that I can show. So if we load maybe a different project 4. So in song mode, we're going to start with part 1, which is just one string instrument. Everything else is muted. If we go to part 2, we're going to bring in the kick and the bass. And this is playing a chord sequence. If I go to part 3, I'm going to trigger different patterns for the same instrument. I'm going to bring in a new chord sequence. It's going to completely change the track.
And I think the design is very unique. It's not where the knobs, I would say. So you decide to make it without.
Yeah, so the early prototypes, we used to have encoders on the device. We had to remove them because encoders are big and they are somewhat expensive, and we want to make the device as small as possible, as affordable as possible.
Okay.
So we ended up with this design. We still have a touch strip to control some values. And then everything else, as you can see, it's like a Game Boy. You have the direction pad, the 2 buttons, and then your step sequence. We think it's a good compromise to have this device as small as possible.
And I don't see a power supply, so it has a battery.
Yes, battery powered. There's if you look here, you have the USB-C connection to recharge the battery and also to transfer samples.
Any chance to replace it when it's dead?
The battery, yeah, it's actually we will try to pick a off-the-shelf battery. The one we use in the prototype is from a PlayStation controller, so you can get it on Amazon potentially. We're going to aim for something like that. I'm not sure it's going to be this exact battery, but that's what we have.
And how long does it take? How long can you play with it?
So far, we expect 5 to 6 hours playtime. Again, prototype stage, so we hope to make better.
And in the connectivity, you have MIDI in, MIDI out?
Yes, so you can control external gear. We have, maybe you want to show the demo here, if you want. So we have another demo here where we control a Volca using the PGB-1. So we take the MIDI output into the Volca, then we take the sound, the audio output from the Volca and bring it in the audio input of the PGB-1, which means the sound of the Volca goes inside the PGB-1 mixer, and you can even pass it through the effects. So you can have a reverb on the Volca, even if there's no standard reverb here.
And so we can use it also as a MIDI sequencer?
Yeah, absolutely. Every track can be a MIDI sequencer, so you can either control an internal synthesizer or an external one. So you can control up to 16 external synthesizer if you want.
And I saw there's an audio input and the audio input and output. Both are stereo? Or?
Yes. The in and out are stereo.
Okay.
We also have a small microphone embedded, so you can create your own sample, either from the microphone or from the stereo input. Yeah.
And Fabien, the entire thing is open source, or the software part?
The software is open source, and we will also release the schematics for the hardware. We want a device that everyone can modify. And
so no fear that it's copied in 5 days by a big...
Proprietary software is not really a defense for this kind of things. So let's make it open source and hope for the best, and hope people can appropriate, take care of it, and maybe build something even better.
What are now the plans? Is it already ready, or is it still in development, or?
So we are starting a crowdfunding campaign today with the goal to deliver in January 2025.
And where you can use support, the campaign is at...
So the campaign is running at Crowd Supply, which is a crowdfunding platform that specializes in open source projects.
Okay. And the price point during the crowdfunding is how much?
So in US dollar, it's $249 shipping included, which means for Europe it's going to be €280 tax and shipping included.
And this will be also then the retail, or if you are ready, if you sell it?
We'll see. Hope for the best. Right now we are focusing on the crowdfunding, and if we are successful with the crowdfunding, maybe we'll see with the next step. Yeah, why not? Would be nice.
Okay. Thank you, Fabien.
Thank you.
And hope you will enjoy the SynthFest 24.
Thank you. You
and
too.
Hope to see you again in next video. Bye.